in a place and some time.
Yes.
In a place I'm unfamiliar with, but I'm getting to learn.
That's right.
With an individual
that you're unfamiliar with, but you're
that
getting
I'm unfamiliar
to learn.
with, but I'm getting to learn, and they're a great individual.
Oh, thank you.
They make sweets and treats, and they have a sweet personality to match.
Ew.
And they watch podcasts on cognitive ability, and I like that as well because I got a lot of cognitive ability and mindset to be shifted daily. Like, look at me right now. Do you see me? With this mic in my hand? They do. These people in this park do. And they're curious, and they should be. You know, black people with mics, and we're not talking about death, destruction.
Black people first.
Black people first.
Black people with mics second.
So, we're having a beautiful moment on a beautiful day. Spring is beginning. Again, I said treats. So, baking, chefing, handing out blessings.
That's right.
Entrepreneurship. Black woman. Woman History Month. Oh, but it's never over for women. Like, turn up for the women.
That's right.
The women's. Women.
You know, we out here.
Out here. Met at an open mic, right?
Yeah.
First time we met at an open mic, and I'm performing performables, and then I'm podcasting, and I think I mentioned it, but I don't always mention what I do when I go places. So then they're like, "Oh, follow me," and we follow each other. And he's like, "Hey, I see you turned up. Let's do one." And I was like, "Yes, let's do one."
Yeah. No,
and
listen, I was like, I
go.
tagged you and a couple other podcasters, and I was like, man, I got a lot of shit to say.
Yes. And
I need to be on a podcast.
A lot of voices that need to be heard.
Right.
And
it's been a minute since I've been on a podcast. So.
But I didn't quite introduce you fully. This is Codetta. Is that?
Yes, Codetta is my street name. My full name is Sumaya Bilal. People call me Maya. But I am the owner, chef, head chef, executive chef, CEO, head baker, and booty shaker at Codetta Bake Shop.
Sit on the bench.
Sit on the bench? All right,
Yes.
let's do it.
Head baker and booty shaker.
That's right. That's right.
Bip.
Very, very, very important. So, and I say that because music is a very important part of the business.
Yes.
I'm a former music teacher. Codetta is actually a musical term.
Oh, what is it? What terms?
Yeah, it's a section of the music. It's like a tag ending on a piece of music, on a selection of music. And so the idea is that we give you something sweet to finish your meal in the same way that a Codetta concludes a section of music.
That's hot.
Yeah. And so our tagline is for a sweet finish. Oh. And the symbol that you would see, it's actually derived from the word coda. And in music, you would see this symbol in your music for that section of the music. So it's all connected, right? But it also sounds like somebody's black grandma that makes some really bomb sweets.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, Codetta.
People ask me, is that your grandmother's name?
Codetta May.
You from the South? Nah.
Okay, that's cool.
No one knows.
Oh, the sun is killing me right now, y'all. But that's cool.
Turn around. We can go on that bench.
Yeah.
Want to try that bench?
Yeah. I like it. See, this is how it goes.
Look at that.
It doesn't have to last. It doesn't have to be bad. It's all good.
All right.
Look at the trees.
Here we go.
Sometimes I look at nature and I'm like, wow, you're beautiful.
Why can't I get into this? I feel real dumb.
Oh, wait. It doesn't matter. We're already here.
All right.
And it's done. There we go.
Boom.
And yes.
In we get. All right, this one. Now the sun is facing us.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, you go that way. Okay.
That's awesome.
Hey, that's much better.
I love
Look
that.
at the sky.
Yes.
Look at the sky behind us. Okay, views.
I love flexibility.
Yes.
I love open-mindedness.
Mm-hmm.
I love people that are willing to take approach that hasn't been taken, because that's what entrepreneurship is ultimately.
1000%.
And that's what the best things in life are. I mean, everything starts off in a space that nobody understands.
Yep.
And when it becomes great, everybody acts like they were part of the process. And it's so silly to watch. But it's
like, nah, keep that same energy. Like, with the what are you doing and your little side business.
I always love reasonable doubt, yo. I always knew them guys was going to come up and do that thing, man. I always knew he could be mayor. When I seen him at Maryville, I knew he could be the mayor of the city. And
you called me a dweeb in 4th grade.
And then the sad part is those same individuals switch sides when things don't go the way they want them to.
Of course.
So I always knew that Bacon thing wasn't gonna work for her. It's like, you're a hater.
She wasn't gonna do nothing.
Be who you are. But I know that consistency will never be defeated because that's what this has been built in.
Mm-hmm.
And I love everything you said lifted my spirit because, like I said, I've been floating.
Yeah.
And I've been flowing and I've been dealing with some individuals who know an older version of me. They don't know this one.
Mm-hmm.
And
this
sometimes,
is new you, though.
Sometimes I have to relearn. I have to learn this person I am. I have to learn this because it's like moments where I'm like, oh, that don't seem. And I'm like, bro, you went through worse.
Right.
Literally like 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, level up, turn up, get busy. Like,
keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward. And it's funny too because, the moments that people are like, why are you doing that? Like somebody would say, why are you out here in a park doing it, right?
Right.
One day I'll be in the studio with people who make millions of dollars in their sleep.
Yep.
One day I'll be sitting across from somebody at a desk, having to still have that same confidence and that same understanding of why I'm doing it. And if I'm lacking in this ability, I'm not showing up. I'm not showing up there.
Yeah.
Because they play a whole nother game. Like, I've already had people who I've done joints with, and they're like, got to do this first, got to do that first. Like, you got a checklist. You got to do your makeup. You got to, it's like we got to pick a certain angle. It's like, I didn't think of none of that.
Oh,
It's no disrespect to it. It's just.
I'm not that. I'm like, hey, let's go to the park. I guess.
Let's
question
get busy.
mark?
Yeah.
Let's do it. It's nice out.
I'm open to this thing because like that's all it's supposed to be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
you said consistency, and I think that's so key, not just in entrepreneurship, but just in life, right? And I think people get into trouble in a lot of different aspects of their journeys because they lack consistency. Somebody asked me a few years ago, like a coworker of mine, she was just making small talk. She was like, Maya, what does friendship mean to you? And I was like, oh, it's an interesting question. And I said, consistency. It's not about, because I have friends that are my very best. If you ask me like my best friends, I'll give you a list. And all those people, they're not, each of them is not the person I'm calling at 1 a.m. when my car breaks down. Or if I'm in dire, and if I need something that's in this lane, or I need something that's over here, or I need to vent to somebody, I might not call that person, but they're still my best friend because they're consistent. I know their role in my life, and they don't waver from that.
And they know their role.
And they know their role.
It's like, as the friend, you have to remember your role. Exactly. Remember your lane. And I love when people allow me to be in the lane that I'm meant to be in. I have friends who are like,
not expect you to switch.
Right. They're like, look, we know you're going to leave the club early if we do go to the club. And we know you may not even come to the club. So we're not even going to invite you to that. But if we go on biking and like we thinking about hiking, we know who to call.
Exactly.
And that's the cool part is like, same and vice versa. If I want to do some wild celebration, they still might push back. They're like, nah, you ain't about to come out here with this handy boy. What you on? But it's still like, everybody has a role to play. And a lot of times the issue that arises in community is people forget the role that they're assigned to. And they want to play somebody else's.
Even worse, they don't know their role. They haven't taken the time to figure out their role. Right. And so they just adopt a role that they think they should be playing. And then they literally cannot be consistent because that's not true to them. They don't know how to consistently be that because it's not true to them. So after a while, I was just talking to my nieces about this, right? The facade falls away and it's like, oh, she was telling me about this friend that she has, that she's dealing with, that is... She's always like embarrassing her in front of like their mutual friends, but like one-on-one they're cool. And I'm like, you know what that is? Because I recently went through this with a close contact of mine. People see your light. People see who you are and what you bring. And they try to they see that and they're like, it's like a moth to a flame. They're like, oh, that's great. I got to get me a piece of that.
I got a big piece. They want a big bite.
Now there's some people who they see your light and they're attracted to their light because they also have that light.
That's the part.
But then there's other people who they see their light and they're attracted to that because they don't have that light and they want to take from that light. And so they try and match that energy, but it becomes so exhausting for them to keep it up. And then they realize, oh, this isn't exhausting for you. This is easy. This is just who you are. And
this is not a ploy.
This is not a ploy. This is not anything. And then, you know, the resentment, like I've been pretending to be this person that is compatible with you. And it's exhausting to me emotionally and mentally, and I'm tired and I'm burnt out. And then you're left like, well, I didn't know that you was putting on a front.
A word and then some.
I'm just being myself, and you can't handle that. And I'm sorry, but so I told my niece, I said, first of all, that's not your friend, and it doesn't have to be a whole big thing, but you need to recognize that person is not for you. She's for what you have. She's not for you.
When it's gone, they will not be present.
Exactly.
And this is
when you stop benefiting them.
Yep.
They're out. They're gone.
There are people working jobs in service when it's a blessing to work in service, when it's pretty to be a server. Yep. Oh, I love my job and I love what I do for everybody. I love people. And when nobody care about that service you provide, and when you got to do it in the dark.
Yep.
When people are saying they want to help black boys and you step into the space and nobody really want to help black boys, it's just a tagline like "Got Milk" was a sign in my cafeteria. When people say they really want to see black men heal and then they posting stuff about you'll be if you cry. Right. You know, so it's like
it doesn't match.
They don't match.
That's the lack of consistency.
That's the lack of consistency.
Because that's the whole front, right? And you talked, I think, in your episode with Angel about social media. And how it's so easy to create whatever kind of life you want to portray. You can literally curate a whole personality.
Yes.
You can curate different personalities for different people, different audiences on social media or just in life and interpersonal relationships. But then what that creates, and I was telling my nieces too, what probably is happening is that your friend has portrayed herself as this person to these people. She's this person to these people, and she's that person to you. And now she's terrified of those different groups meeting up and comparing notes.
Yes.
Because none of the people that she's portraying herself as are the real her. She's so insecure about herself that she can't show up as herself because she's not going to be accepted. She fears that she's not going to be accepted by anyone.
I'll give my vulnerability. I have struggled with that for many years in my life.
And most people do.
And the reason I struggle with it is because to my family, I always felt like I'm the lowest on the totem pole. Outside, everybody bigs me up. They see the light. Yeah. So it's like bringing people around my family. If it's scary to me because I'm like, I don't want y'all.
Yourself.
Yeah, I feel like I gotta, and I don't want to be small.
Nope.
And I don't want to be small. So and then it's like, with that being said, I also don't want people to come around my family and be turned off by some things. But it's not to belittle my family or demean it. It's just these conceptions I made up in my head.
But it's also, where are you in your birth order?
I'm a Pisces.
No. Oh. What you have siblings?
Yeah, I'm the first.
You're the oldest.
Oh, those, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting because I'm the youngest.
Oh wow.
Of 7, 8. I have 7
so you got something to prove.
No, not. You know what's crazy?
A middle child, I think, has something to prove.
You know what's crazy?
And the youngest.
I've never been that, right? Like I've never been like, oh, I gotta prove something. You know what I mean? Like I just do me. I think that from my vantage point, other people in my family treat me as if I think I have something to prove, and I really don't. I just am like, I'm gonna do what I like to do. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
They're perceiving it to be that.
They're perceiving it.
Right.
They're perceiving it to be different than what my intention is. But I think that comes from a place of like they don't really know me, right? And we were talking about this earlier. They have a perception of me that's stuck in my childhood. I'm an adult. And I'm like the 4th or 5th version of adult Samaya right now. Right?
Let people grow up. Let people evolve. Yeah. It's something that a lot of people struggle with. Like I had a conversation recently. It's like some people feel, and I felt this too, that somehow you'll keep a snippet of what you had before.
Yeah.
But if you're genuinely living in something authentically, let people move on. Like my brother,
gotta grow.
My brother jokes about this all the time because when he was younger, he would dirt his shoes. Like he would turn a white pair of shoes black.
That's me. That's me. Shout out to Hoka. I'm trying to get this sponsorship, y'all.
Hey, I want a sponsorship too.
I got the Codetta teal Hoka's.
Hoka keeps your
branding.
feet comfortable.
That's
They
right.
get dirty, but they
Fit.
still fit and look good and usable.
They real
Use
thick.
them.
Thick
Right.
soles for the thick soles.
And we're walking in the park. They got our feet comfortable for the park
That's
walk.
right.
Yes, thank you to Hoka.
I work in these.
I love it.
Anyway.
She's baking in these.
Baking and booty shaking.
caking, booty shaking, whatever. Yes.
Risk taking.
Foul.
Mm.
Power.
Anyway, your brother.
My brother. Dirt's white sneakers. He would dirt white sneakers. So the thing was, don't get caught. You know, don't get him no shoes because
Right.
he gonna dirt him. Today he got a whole shoe collection. Like he got some of the freshest kicks.
Listen.
He don't play about his shoes.
Right.
He might have a wipe on him. If he could, he keep wipes on him.
Yeah.
He's that guy with it, and I'm proud to see it.
Right.
But it's like he had to grow into that.
Mhm.
Even in school, it was a point where a teacher had thought he wasn't going to do something. He wasn't going to go on because she tried to claim he had ADHD.
Mm-hmm.
Teacher wasn't showing up how she was supposed to. After further investigation, so please investigate these educators that you're sending your babies to and just accepting these IEPs that they give them because they say that they really need it and we care about them. They don't care about your kid.
Yeah.
So as I'm saying,
shout out to involved parents because you better
Shout
know.
out.
You better understand
Ooh,
this. Quick
big
aside,
flex,
because I
big
used to
flex.
be an educator. Please understand this. Teachers are supplemental. Teachers and the school system is supplemental. You as a parent are the primary teacher for your children.
I was teaching for 3 years. Yes.
And people think it's the other way around.
Yes.
They think, if my kid isn't learning this, it's the teacher's fault.
Oh
No,
my
you
goodness.
need to be teaching them, reinforcing that at home.
Lord, please.
Your kid should not be learning how to read when they get to school. That should not be the first time they explore sight. I have a 2-year-old niece. Codetta is a sight word for her. Because every time she sees me, she see me in this shirt. She knows Codetta blue. She knows the shape of this word. Whether she sees it in black, in teal, in black and teal, wherever she sees it on a box, on a sticker.
And teach these babies cursive. Teach these babies cursive.
Teach babies cursive.
Get them back
so they
in
can
that
sign their
bag.
names on them checks.
Yes. Because they're
Real
getting big
talk.
ones. There's big ones on the way.
Anyway.
I'm sitting with that in so many ways. Because this teacher said that, and my mama don't play. Not about her babies. We not dummies. So my mama
ain't
came up
raised no
there.
dummies.
She came up there with me and my sister and my brother. We all up in there listening to this lady. And I'm sitting there like, that lady lying. But I ain't say it because my mama said respect. But my mama said, you lying. And then my brother just needed glasses. The boy was blind.
Wow.
And then he put on the glasses, looking like Jordan from Bernie Mac. But my brother just needed some glasses.
Not the peanut head.
So look, me too. We had them ones. That was the shave they heads because they ain't brushing their hair era. You understand? So we was walking around with this little bill cut,
my God.
minding our business, being studious. But he put them glasses on, moved his seat up to the front, and my brother is a Morgan State graduate today in their
Yes.
master's degree program in architecture.
What? Yo, shut up.
Don't play with it.
Little bro.
Don't play
I
with
need
it.
to meet him because no, seriously, I'm working on some architecture stuff right now. Yeah.
Look at that.
We're gonna
That's
talk.
how community
We're
works.
gonna talk.
When I mentioned my brother and his struggles, but his overcoming, I got Codetta right here. You know,
Come on, come through.
we got-
Working on
yeah,
stuff.
We got
we
Codetta
moving,
big
and
shot,
shaking. We moving and shaking.
and I'm just grateful.
Yeah.
And
That's a blessing.
It's always a blessing on the back.
It's
end.
crazy. Like, if I can get on my soapbox about education for a little bit. As a teacher, you learn that every child is different. Every child learns differently. And like when you have a room full of 35 kids, first of all, whatever age they are, that is a monumental task. Because you literally need to connect with each kid, learn how they learn best. Part of it is even like figuring out what their home life is like. Because one thing I learned as an educator, the biggest indicator of a child's academic and social success is what's going on at home. The biggest indicator. If
If I could drop the mic, I would. The ground too dirty.
if I see a student who's struggling in school, struggling academically, always cutting class,
Yes.
socially, all kinds of stuff, cussing teachers out,
Yes.
99.999% of the time, it's something going on at home.
It's absolutely every time.
On the converse, I have seen kids that come from, single parent households. They don't live in the best living conditions, right? They might come to school with the same clothes on for 3 days in a row, but they got one parent at home that loves on them and that is engaged with them every single waking moment that they can be. And that kid can outperform everyone in the class academically.
I think what is problematic is the way that perception drives narratives. My mother is raised us, it was a single parent home.
Mine too.
But my father was in the military, deployed during the Iraq War. Like for the
so they were together, but she was
but divorce. Now this is where it gets complex because it's like there's multiple factors at the same time. So single parent home based on the fact that my father's at war and my parents are divorced. My father's still playing an active role in the ways that he can, but it is that separation within their relationship. So that does cause a layer of trauma for me. And my siblings weren't as affected because they were younger when they divorced.
You grew up
always
with both
conscious.
of them, and then
and it was like probably I think I was 4 or 5, but I remember 4 or 5 very deeply. And it was a lot of moments that were unfortunate growing up. It wasn't crazy, but it was moments. So just having that conception and then also having a big family allowed me to have a lot more opportunity if I leaned into it. I always had somebody who would show up that was an older male in my family who's like, look, you need anything, let me know.
That's a blessing. That's seriously a blessing.
Now, this is where it gets problematic. I didn't always call on them.
Right.
And then pride and fear got in the way of me reaching out to individuals. And then I get around them, and some of them had the hugest personalities. Like, people see me like, you're something like, I know people with bigger, that had
way bigger
personalities than me. And like, walk in the room, everybody's smiling, everybody's glowing, everybody's happy they're there. And if they're not there, they want to know why.
Right.
You know, so I have a lot of that model in my family. And sometimes talking to them felt like, well, what did I say to you? Like, I got a cousin and I'm conscious of it right now. Sometimes he's like, well, how do I show up for Marquis like this? What do he need? It's like, I need a lot. I just don't know what to tell you.
Listen.
And this is the era of like, speak up when you need help, because a lot of people I just mentioned needed help. A lot of them needed help. And we're at an age now where I'm like talking to them and collecting stories, and they're like, I was going through this when you saw me like that. I saw the fast car. Nah, this is what it took to get it. I was like, oh. So it's like,
people, they see you. I have a lot of conversations with my friends like this about this topic. When people see that you're making moves, that you're successful, they assume, oh, she got it. She good. She got it. And that's not. Somebody else posted and said, I think it was Cousin Kim. Shout out to Cousin Kim.
Shout out Cousin Kim. She made
her?
Yeah, she was at the Boss Burger joint the other day. Shout out. She's
the dopest.
Can you be on my show, Kim? Please.
Oh my gosh, she'll never stop talking. No, but shout out Cousin Kim. She posted something that was like, I will never not need help. Whatever moves you see me making, however successful you perceive me to be, I will always need help. Please reach out.
On guard.
Because you just never know, and you can't assume. And people, they see you, and again, like, social media is another thing, because people don't be posting like what's really going on with them. I try to do a good job of like actually posting like what's going on with me. Like, I've had a lot of emotional turmoil in the last year. I was in a relationship with my ex-partner for 5 years. That ended. My father passed away in January. I was incredibly I still am. I still have a very, very strong spiritual connection with my father. But I post about that. I post about how crushing that was, how difficult it is when I have just like a grief day and I just allow myself to have that. How much that can derail my normal functionality.
I'm big on this. I want to cry. Please just let the tears fall.
You gotta just let it come, man. The only way is through. If you're going through something, I promise you, the only way is through.
Ain't that a double? That's a double.
Only way is through.
If you're going through hell, keep going.
Keep going. Yep.
Shout out Angel King Wilson, Silent Books Publishing. Get busy. I love the community that's forming. Because like I keep saying, everybody knows of each other, but we don't know each other.
Right.
And
not yet.
People don't know that when they're walking into the sunshiny suites. They don't know that when you're showing up on time, on business. They don't know that your father's gone.
Yeah. But you know what's
some
really
people
cool?
know, but it's wild.
Yeah. You know what's really cool is that, I share these things, and from the jump, our branding has really been me. Like if you see me, I'm, even right now, I'm wearing our brand colors. My water bottle is teal. My glasses are teal and black. I am Codetta personified.
And
Which is
Samaya
cool.
Bilal.
Yeah, that's my name.
And
Samaya Bilal.
it's funny because sometimes I'm having to switch between the two.
Yeah.
Like I want to say Codetta Big Shot. Codetta Big Shot.
That's fine.
Because I don't want people to forget these names.
Yeah.
People be like, yeah, I saw that. That was cool. But I want you to understand, there's an individual who's putting their face on the brand.
Yes.
And I was like, initially I struggled with it. Like I was like, how do I put my face on the brand? How do I integrate? Because what you spoke on Earth, and I'm always going to be the brand. Right. And that's the part that people struggle with, but it's like, the integrity you were speaking on is what, and that's really what a lot of people do not understand. Integrity and consistency. And consistency builds the integrity.
It does. And I think transparency and vulnerability goes a long way in today's society. Like, I post when my father passed away, I posted about that. He lived in Albania, and it was the second week of my 2-week vacation. That I don't take like 2 weeks off of business ever. And I was like, you know what? It's been a crazy holiday season. I'm going through a lot. I'm going to just take a couple. I just moved. I just had to get a new car because my car was totaled. I'm going to just take a couple weeks. The first day of the second week was when he passed away. The call that woke me up that morning, 7 a.m., was the call saying, your father's dead. And we were on a flight to Albania that afternoon. And so, that was really hard for me to open up and post about that. But it's the only way that I know to be authentic. Because even like we're talking, we've never had a conversation before, but this is coming up. If I talk to somebody these days, for any length of time, 9 times out of 10, my father is coming up in the conversation because that's on my heart right now. And that is, being open and sharing with my following, about my clients and my customers. Really, like it's kind of like an extended family at this point. People, when I got back from Albania, people were coming into the shop with flowers, fruit baskets, tea, comfort packages, cards, hugs. Just like it was honestly overwhelming, the amount of support, just because I'm showing up as me. This is me. I don't have, like, Codetta and Sumaya are the same person, right? It's one and the same. And I don't know how else to be, right? But there's that consistency piece, which allows you to navigate in both worlds without feeling like you're putting on a front.
You know what gave me that lesson? Being in the classroom. And I say that because when I'm showing up with the kids, it's days where I felt sick. And I was like, if I hide the fact that I'm feeling sick to make this class work, I'm going to give them an energy that they don't understand, and they won't have a conception of why.
But kids are so, like, humans in general, kids have empathy.
Absolutely.
Kids are so much smarter, so much more emotionally intelligent and observant,
brilliant,
and intuitive than we know. I would do the same things. Like, there were times when, I remember one of my years, it was just a really, really difficult work environment. And I told the kids, they come in complaining, Mr. So-and-so did this, he tripping, I don't know, what's his problem? I'm like, listen, it's very difficult to be a teacher in this school this year. So all of your teachers are struggling with this, including myself. And we're having days where it's a struggle.
I gotta let y'all know we at war.
Yeah.
I gotta let y'all understand. Like, I made this joke, I was like, moms will complain about the light bill when it is a struggle to pay it. When ain't no struggle, every light in the house is on and the TVs are running all day. And it was never no conversation about it. When the bill goes crazy, you know the cents that's on the bill. You know it's $811.34 is due on the 1st. It's back due. You know that it's it's back due. You know that everything got to get unplugged before you leave the house.
Yep, unplugged.
It went from everything's on. You might leave the TV on to go to the store. To the unplug the damn refrigerator. Don't play with me, boy. I'm not. Did you unplug that refrigerator? I know it ain't unplugged. I can hear it running.
Let the chicken thaw.
I seen it running down the street. It need to be unplugged. So what I'm sitting with is like, those are the things that keep us grounded, those are the things that allow us to serve better. And when I was in that space, like, I came to this school year, like, I'm going through a lot, y'all. And I need y'all to understand that when I'm doing certain things. When I'm hard on y'all this year, when I'm telling
This
you
is why.
that don't make sense, I need y'all to know. It's people out here with a conception of y'all that don't work for me. It's people out here that's saying Baltimore kids ain't nothing,
Yes.
that my city is violent and murderous and dangerous at all
That's not
times,
the case.
and I'm not finna go for it. And
Yep.
I've been outside. I didn't talk to people who are doing great work. Everybody just don't know about it, and it
Yep.
ain't where I needed to be. It ain't
Not yet.
broadcast.
Not yet.
It's like, and it's here. That's what I get so irritated about. It's here already. It was never not here.
Yep.
It's
It
just
needs to be highlighted.
it just hasn't been highlighted.
I remember telling my kids, so I worked in Howard County. Shout out to Lake Elkhorn Middle School.
Hey.
I really, really, really love that community. And honestly, the first time that I ever really, truly experienced grief that was close to my heart was in 2020 because I left that job under the circumstances that I did. Like March 13th was the last day I saw my kids. And I call them my kids because I feel very affectionately towards that school community and my students. And I didn't get to say goodbye in the way that I wanted to. And there are so many times, the past few years, I'll wake up I have very vivid dreams. I wake up from a dream that I'm back in my band room, conducting my kids, making beautiful music, doing what I love. And I wake up from this dream just in tears, because I'm like, that was my passion. That was my dream job.
I had to leave. I cried leaving. I mean,
Grief.
I
You want to
was
talk about grief?
I was sitting there like, Mr. Carrington, you really going? I said, yeah, I gotta do something different.
Yeah.
And like everybody didn't understand it, and I still show back up in the space, and they're like, when you coming back? I'm like, I'm not. Like this is different. And
I had a
it's a new season.
A student and his mom, and this is a very beloved family of mine. Family that I taught. I taught his older sister, and then I taught him a few years later. Just really great people, really sweet kids. They came into the shop last year and they were like, when are you coming back? We miss you so much. I was like,
yeah,
I'm not coming
that don't
back.
work.
I love you.
Right.
I really do. But I'm not coming back. That's not for me anymore.
Love, and this has been a big name for me lately because I'm always not redefining, but just assessing love.
Yeah.
Love starts with yourself.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I have love to give, but after I gave it to myself.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I give myself so much love I don't show up for others. I'm saying I give myself enough love to show up for others. And in that space, I was recognizing I'm sacrificing some of myself and getting diminishing returns. Wow. I'm not being paid what I need to be paid. I'm being undervalued. Wow. I'm showing up in roles that aren't on my job went on an application.
I ain't signed up for this.
And then I'm taking responsibility, or I'm getting chastised for things I wasn't responsible for. That's when you miss me.
Yeah.
Like, oh no. It's like, well, you didn't buy me flowers anymore. That wasn't my responsibility.
That was
extra.
You got used to it because I did it.
Used to it. Don't ever disrespect me for something that I was extra on, because my extras is lit. Like my extras are heavy. Like
you know what's crazy though? Because you when you love yourself and you extend that, really, like, your capacity for love is an extension of the love you have for yourself. When you truly love yourself, then the people in your life, they experience that, and it's extraordinary.
Yeah, absolutely.
To the point where
it's disgusting.
When
I say on every aspect, it's like you cringing, you making me cringe. I love you.
But it's too much. Yeah. No, but like even like my friends, I'm a very good friend. All my friends would say I'm a very good friend. I care very deeply about the people that I care about. But when something changes, and for me in interpersonal relationships, it's always a matter of consistency. Yeah. Word of the day here.
Yeah.
When something changes, and I feel the need to be like, oh, okay, well that means I'm not going to extend my love that far anymore.
Oh, that doesn't work here no more.
It's not, right, that doesn't work here. It doesn't work for me anymore.
Yeah.
And it's not about, you don't hate that person.
No.
You're just withdrawing your love, right? And with withdrawing their love, that puts them back into the pool of everybody, the gen pop, right? You're back in the gen pop. You're not in my circle anymore. And that the fall from being in your close circle as someone who loves themselves.
It's deadening for some individuals. Ooh, they don't know.
It's devastating.
They don't know how to deal, and
it feels
you
like
gotta figure it out.
It creates a vacuum, and they're just like, whoa, what just happened? It's like, oh no, you change who you are, and so I changed how I relate to you, and that now you're realizing the hole that's left in your life because I can't have you in my life anymore.
You know what's so heavy and beautiful to me? If you stay around them, you wear the energy that they'll leave with. And that's what I need everybody to sit with. Yep. Think about how nasty you feel in the presence of people who do not honor you.
Seriously.
That's what they feel when you leave their life.
Bro.
There's a transfer of energy. Do not stay around individuals who are making you shrink.
Do not do it.
And I loved it because I left. It took me 4 weeks to leave. I put in a 4-week notice. I was leaving since January 1st.
Wow.
Left February 17th. I was planning it out because I didn't want to do it in a nasty way.
It takes exactly.
It was truly a breakup.
Yeah.
When you're doing services for others, you're in a real relationship. This is a relationship that has intimacy, and it's an intimate level, like you're close. You have to come in with some skin in the game but you also have to understand, and I love, shout out to Miss Keisha at Greenmount West Community Center, Keisha Webster. Have to have your bomb.
Yeah.
Balance, I believe is accountability, luxury, and what is the M? The M was so special, but all of those just like, she get it. Wow. And she spoke on it in a speech that she gave recently at City Lit. But just thinking about those first three, balance,
accountability,
and maybe another A, but it was just like sitting with just in terms, and how are you healing after you step into these spaces? Because you're gonna be somebody's villain.
Yep.
You're gonna be somebody's villain.
Sometimes you just gotta be okay with that.
I'm a lot of people's villain, but I'm a lot of people's hero. And I don't need to get hype about either end. I don't need to feel away. Why they think I'm so mad? Me. Hey, think what you think. I love this, y'all love me. Nah, I'm good on that. I don't care that y'all love me. I can't care that y'all love me. And it's not to say that I don't appreciate your love.
You appreciate it.
But I cannot sit around and
you're not thirsty for it.
Right. That's not what's fueling this. This is fueled by the service that's being provided, and that's why I showed up in the school, and that's why you showed up in the school, because when you talking about dreaming about it, just don't say dreaming about these kids, her babies.
Like, when I say that, I mean their faces.
Yep.
I could see their faces and hear their laughter and hear the music that we were making.
It started with Zoom for me. I got a student who I see so much light in, and I got major love for him. He does a lot of things that don't make sense. And he doesn't understand why. Because people throw them labels on you, and once a label put on you, you gonna lean into it.
Yes.
Oh, you a dragger. You ain't never care about nothing. I don't care about nothing, bet. It ain't gonna mean nothing if I hurt somebody. Right. It ain't gonna mean nothing if I die. That's really how some of our kids feel. And I hate that that's a reality for them. You should not be 12. Or I had a student who was like, I don't know where I'm going at. I don't know what 6 months look like. 6 months from now look like. I don't know if I'm going to be in high school. I was like, what? I mean, he's naturally going to end up in high school.
Yeah.
But like, he's not going to high school he wants to go to. He doesn't know. Like, my students don't have like a vision. Like, as a kid, people used to put visions on me. They're like, you could be the president if you want, boy. I was like, oh, I could see that. But I started standing a little different.
That's so important, right? Like, speaking life into your kids, because when this is another thing that came from that podcast that I told you about. The podcast is called Hidden Brain.
Look it up.
Hosted by Shankar Vedantam. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite podcasts. Listen to it. I don't know if it's like a YouTube podcast.
I may try to link it. I would be struggling with my editing, but I may try to link it, y'all. Shout out to that.
It's super, super dope. But they were talking about how they did a study on how to predict a person's success, right? And they were trying to identify indicators, like, okay, well, is it based on wealth? Is it based on geographic location? Is it, what kind of demographic data can we point to that reliably indicates someone's trajectory up the socioeconomic ladder, right? And they found, crazily enough, kind of by accident, that the biggest and most consistent indicator was who is in your social circle. Like the people you're not even people that are in your professional circle, but who you're around.
I say this, and it's funny because I used to get so resentful at one of my guidance counselors. The one thing he always would say was, you are the product of the 5 people closest to you.
Ooh.
You are the product of the 5 people around you. I was like, that don't mean nothing. I could be around somebody and not do what they do. And I missed the point. I missed the damn point like so many of us do. I may be around them and not do what they do, but even having conceptions of what you're doing will somehow impact what I do. And it impacts my perception.
Yes.
So I say this. If I have 5 friends who are just working in construction, some part of my mind is thinking about construction at some point in the day. If I have 5 individuals working in real estate, some part of my mind. If I have 5 individuals in entrepreneurship, musical artists, whatever it may be, look at your circle. Really look at your circle. And your social circle is inclusive of friends, family, and coworkers. If you're talking about power all day, something in your mind has a space in you where men and women or different individuals are put in specific categories.
Right.
I see love and light because I fill my mind intentionally at different points in the day with the word, with podcasts that's based in spiritual practices. I'm studying different things. I'm meditating. I have to be intentional about what I'm intaking. Conscious consumption.
Ooh,
shout out to Chef Key. Conscious consumption. What we consume in media impacts our thought, and our thought impacts our action, and our words reinforce all of those things.
What we hear, they say, what the eyes are the door to the soul, and the ears are the window. You got to be very cognizant of the company that the company you keeps, if that makes sense.
I love that. Who are your friends?
Yeah.
Because your friends are impacting your friend, and then that's impacting you. And then,
you know what?
Ooh.
I like, it's funny because, like, you know, this, I just had this experience where I realized, okay, there's a disconnect between this person that's showing me this version of themselves, and I see like all their friends are doing something completely different, and I wonder what that is. And then it, you know, what's held in the dark always comes to light.
Yes.
And so then I had a moment like, oh, you're the same as everyone else. That was so instructive for me, so informative. And one of the lessons that my father told me when I was very young, I think I was like 11, he said, be very careful who you call your friends, who you even assign that term, friend, because there's something psychological that happens when you call somebody your friend on a subliminal level. You're not even necessarily thinking about it, but my friend, you're attaching that person to you in a more intimate way than like, oh, that's my classmate, or that's somebody I work with. If you call somebody your friend, that means they are a part of you, and vice versa. And there is some bit of shared responsibility
in their actions, in their lifestyle,
in that relationship.
Ooh.
And so you got to take accountability for that too.
Yes.
If you find it, and I'm all about this. This is what I was telling my niece. Like I'm my energy for this year is 2023 and me. And I think everybody should be on that, right? Not it's 2023 in Samaya, it's 2023 in Quis, you know, everybody. It's 2023 in me.
Bless
right?
it, bless it.
And so if there's somebody who, you know, she was telling me, oh, well, she's a really good friend in private. Okay, but if she treats you differently in public she's not for you. She's for what you have.
You cannot love me outside. You cannot hate me outside and love me in private. That ain't where we're going. That ain't what we're going for.
And then that makes you feel like you're crazy because you're like, I don't understand. Like, I feel bonded to this person because of how they treat me one-on-one. But then I'm just left bewildered and confuzzled.
This is my game. I love me everywhere.
Yes.
I love me everywhere. I don't take days off.
Yep.
I don't take an hour off.
Not a second.
I'm good. I'm good on that.
Right.
If I don't really care about, I don't really feel cute around them. What? You gotta go look away for you start around these funky ass people? Funky people? I'm good on that. I come out here right here like I went to work like this.
Yeah.
People thought I was a gym teacher. On God, people thought I was a gym teacher. They see me hanging from the rim. They see me on the playground. They like, he probably doing gym. I was teaching tech classes, the 7th and 8th grade math.
Being yourself.
I'm teaching a podcast class right now, and I don't work in the school. People are like, oh, amazing. You left the school? You're not working with kids no more? I said, shut up.
What that means.
Shut up, stupid. Shut up. You don't even talk to me. You only talking to me because you hearing these stories about how broke I am.
Gosh.
But it's like,
And it's story, and it's just that.
And it's the thing, like, money don't mean value.
Woohoo! Say it again.
It's people with money that don't got no value.
Oh my God.
It's people with money that can't have this conversation with you right now.
Lord have mercy.
With Samaya, the owner of Codetta Bake Shop, which is a luxurious baking shop, beautiful baking shop within Baltimore, Maryland. If you're not tapped in, you should be.
Federal Hill neighborhood.
Sky's the limit. Look at that sky behind us.
It's a beautiful,
On
glorious
God.
day.
It's a gorgeous day. And I just need you all to understand. I'm not putting on airs for nobody.
Not the sorry to bother you voice.
Look, and it's like I got voices because I'll be a voice actor sometimes.
Yeah.
But
listen, we need a voice actor show.
this is the thing. Consistency is people know I be goofy like this.
Right.
I've been doing this since I was like 12 for real. Like I don't even know. This is what it is. And like I said, it's just so much.
You show up in different places as you because you. But that's another thing.
It's versatility.
You love you, and that allows you to be consistent with who you are and show up as you in whatever space. It don't matter.
Look.
There's no. I mean, now that's not to say that code switching isn't a thing.
Yeah, I've
because
definitely
you got to code switch.
I say
but
the
there's a
language of
difference.
business.
Exactly.
I don't, and I've had to
like
switch that. I switched because
You
code
speak the
switching.
language
People
of
like
business.
code switching. Even the crabs in the barrel. Who put them in the barrel? That's really the question. And then sit with this. Okay, we say code switching. It's certain terms in business language that don't show up at the corner store.
This is
At
true.
the corner store,
Very
I know
true.
I gotta say, "What's good, Bashar? How y'all doing? What's up?" I know that's the language of that space. If I say, "How are you guys doing today?" Hey, where you from, yo?
Right.
What you on? So it's like people don't even understand that that's a survival tactic. And certain you
Absolutely.
can't show up. My mentor, he was telling me he was in a Spanish speaking country. And there's a word that is like a friendly word, but it also means penis. So they were saying that. And he was like, "Oh yeah, mucho gusto," and then he's like, "Mucho gracias, mucho gracias." he's like, he agreed to it, and it's like, "Oh, you really like that, don't you?" And they were playing with him, but it's like, if you don't know the language of the space, you're not gonna win. So I tell my kids this: never lose sight of who you are, but learn their language and run laps around them with their language, because they're not speaking nothing special. When they say in perpetuity, concurrent is a court term that means these sentences running together.
Yep.
But consecutive means back to back.
Right, back to back.
And you don't want that back to back.
In perpetuity means forever.
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 So you got my life, you got my entity. Nah, I ain't finna go for that.
You gotta know.
And it's like, even when I say read, like I'm big on letting kids know. Because I was this type of kid. You're not just going to teach me something and not tell me why I need to know it.
Ooh, yeah.
So I was like, what purpose do I gain from knowing this? And I always had history around me. Like my father got me a African American First encyclopedia.
Oh, I love
so,
that.
Right? I was just like,
that's super dope.
And even he got me that. And he also got me the presidents of the country. So I was reading about like all the presidents, and I learned he had slaves earlier. I learned George Washington had slaves' teeth. I was learning these different little facts.
My dad gave us the Howard Zinn history, People's History of the United States.
That's very cool. I got that in high school.
When I was 11? When we were 11 and 13.
I'm saying about knowledge. Y'all get that book. That one is
Crazy.
cold. But
It's ridiculous.
But them parts, like, sit with that. I was like, okay, I need to know about this because this is now letting me know as a new reference. When people are telling me what black people are not, when you're telling me what was going on in this period, when you're making me think that Benjamin Banneker didn't play the role that he did, when you're telling me there was slaves.
George Washington Carver was only about peanuts.
Right.
No.
I just learned he was an artist.
He was a lot of things.
He was like many, many things.
Yes.
Roll some of them off for the people if you have any at the top. Because I know even Harriet Tubman has facts that people don't know about.
Quick aside, I'm in Harriet Tubman's lineage.
I'm sitting with heavyweight right here. Samaya Bilal.
Ask about me, see if you ain't heard. No, but seriously, like we have historians in our family that have traced our ancestry back to Cambridge, Maryland, and Harriet Tubman's family.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and that's something I remember when I was in third grade. You know, my father was a historian, and he was a Black Panther. You know, when he was younger, and both of my parents were educators and Black activists, and so that's That's
Yes.
where I'm from. That's my roots, right?
Mhm.
So when every history presentation, it was, all right, well, you're going to present on, you have to pick a historic figure. All right, we're going to pick a black Muslim one. You're going to do a presentation on Elijah Muhammad. Or, oh, you have to do this. Okay, it's Black History Month, and they invited you to speak on the announcements. You're going to tell them that you're related to Harriet Tubman. And I was like, all right, cool. And but what that says, and I was going to say this earlier, when you imbue kids with that, it gives them so much pride in who they are. And it gives them knowledge and awareness of who they are, but also pride. Like when you're a parent, the things you say to your kid are like canon. Like you're almost a deity in their eyes.
This is my thing. I'm not proud of myself for what I accomplished. I'm proud of the people who make me possible to accomplish the things that I accomplish. I'm proud of the family I come from. I'm proud of the city that I was born and raised in. I'm proud of the mother who made me. I'm proud of these individuals outside of me, and that's what I stand on.
That made you.
So in what you said, there's nothing more joyous than hearing about somebody who freed slaves and knowing you connected to them.
Yes.
When you having your
crazy.
lowest moment, and that's why I said, but too, is like when I had some of my lowest moments, it's like, you know where you come from, bro? Like, and sometimes this is another thing you got to seek out. My family has opened up to me about things that they haven't opened up to everybody about because they don't seek out the information.
Right.
But my people was like, we was poor, like poor. Like share, like newspaper, toilet paper, poor at times. Like heavy moments, and it's like that's not to disparage. That's to say, yo,
this is where
everything you got, we had to fight for this.
Yep.
Like I love my uncle so much because of the game he gives me. He dropped out of high school because it was irritating him.
Yeah.
And it was like irritating to the point where it was like, I'm too advanced for this. And I had that same feeling. I literally was like, in my sophomore year, like, I can just drop out, go to community college, get my GED, go to community college early. And that was a feeling. It was possible as a plan. I was intelligent enough to do it, but I stuck it out. And I still went to community college because I was like, I'm not paying all that money to be somewhere and not know what I want to do.
Don't get me started on the fact that most people, like, most professions do not require a college degree. With the exception of like lawyers, teachers, doctors.
This was what was so funny though.
Not worth it.
I was told, why are you there? Why are you there? And I would say why I was there, and people wouldn't understand it. But this is what I understood. I was taking calculus. I ended up taking science classes. This expanded my mind. I took an audio engineering class at community college. I took an audio engineering class in community college. I took a communications class twice because when I left community college to go to a school in Georgia, they didn't accept the credit. So I was taking a communications class where we had to recite the preamble to the Constitution.
Wow.
Had to memorize it in a week and recite the preamble in front of our peers. So I got used to speaking in front of people. Didn't know why I was speaking in front of people.
That's great. At my school, public speaking was a required class that you had to finish before your sophomore year.
That's what the biggest fear in this country is right now.
Public speaking. You know what's crazy? I got 2 A's. I got 2 A pluses in my. I didn't know they gave A pluses in college, but I got 2 A pluses in my college career. One of them was in this public speaking class for the presentation I did. It was I think it was like our final. We had to do like an introductory, like an introduction for like like a keynote speaker or something like that. And we could choose anybody to do it on. I did it on Antoine Dodson. You remember who that?
How's your kids? How's your wife? Everybody. That was a moment for sure.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing, bro. I said this man is a legend. He's a trailblazer in his community. It was just like so. It was so ridiculous. But the delivery was great.
That's the part.
The delivery was great, and it made like everybody was like cracking up in the class.
You could say cheese and crackers, cheese and crackers, cheese and crackers. Or you can say cheese tastes good on crackers. Hey, I like cheese, grapes, and crackers. I like when that thing get fatter. Hey, I like when that thing get fatter.
Hey,
Ba-da-
cheese and crackers. Hey,
ba-da-ba.
hey, cheese and crackers. Hey,
Ba-da- ba-da-
cheese and crackers. Hey,
ba-da-ba.
hey,
This might be
cheese
the
and crackers.
this might be the intro.
Hey, cheese and crackers.
Like
What?
cheese. Hey,
Cheese
hey,
and crackers.
and crack.
Hey,
So
hey,
it's
bust
all
it
in
down.
how you give it up.
Yeah,
And I'm constantly
for
on
sure.
that. It's like people like, and my cousin used to say that, and she was saying it because she was just hating. Sometimes some people say like, I don't wear that because everybody wearing it. And like, you still comparing. Like, you gonna wear your Walmart,
Right.
just do it and be fly. Shut up. But
Yeah.
it's like, it be that things, but it's like that part. You bring the clothes to life.
Yeah.
You bring your energy to life. Charm City Bipper don't mean nothing unless I wear it the way it's supposed to be worn. You're not gonna feel it unless I'm proud about it,
Right.
or I'm giving off an energy that say I love this. This is an extension of me.
Stand in it.
Stand in it all the way and put your face on your business. Funnel Cake King.
Yeah,
He
shout out Funnel
put the
Cake King.
face on a business
Yeah.
and go outside.
He's great.
Don't go outside half stepping.
Yo, he's a goat.
Yeah, he cold.
I hear
That
like
guy's
winning
cold.
pitch competitions
Yes.
left and right. Yeah, and yeah, that's a great example because his energy
Yes.
his energy is amazing. He's got a good product and he has a phenomenal cause.
He gonna make you match his energy.
Yes,
You
and if
gonna
don't,
match it or
you're
just
gonna
float
match it.
away?
You're gonna
'Cause
match it.
This is why it's magical.
It makes people happy.
We
You don't have
had
a choice.
a fair and fun. We had a fair or like a carnival at the start of the school year. Start of the school year was term all for me. Like, I didn't know why I was coming back. I had new positions. I'm coming off a
talk about
craziest summer of my life. I met
about it.
everybody I could meet, but I didn't have no stability in my personal life. Coming into this space with the intention to love on these kids despite what I'm going through. To put that away and come into this building and do what I got to do. Life naturally seeps over anyway, but I still gave a effort that they cried when I left for, that they wrote me cards when I left. One of them wrote, "You're one of the greatest people I ever met. I'm so grateful for you." I show up there and they're like, "Hey, I saw some of them clips." I'm like, "I hope you didn't see some of these clips." But they saw, I seen the podcast and it changed my perspective. One of my eighth graders, like, I love that.
That's beautiful.
Absolutely. And that's what this space is for. And
You
that's
know
why
what?
I'm not there right now.
Yeah. No, but you're still inspiring them.
That's the part.
One of my favorite things that I did, I was big on getting evaluation from my kids on like my teaching, right? Like as a teacher,
Give them
you
a voice.
learn that teaching is a learning experience. As a teacher, you are a lifelong learner, right? Like if you say you assign a test and everybody fails, that means you did something wrong.
You're either a teacher or a presenter.
Ooh.
See, that's why when you said that,
Big
I
facts.
tuned into it because a teacher is learning. A presenter,
Teaching is a two-way street.
a presenter throws it at you and leaves. A
Yep.
teacher says, "I don't think I've taught you well enough. Where did I fall short in your understanding of this?"
You self-evaluate.
Self-evaluate.
That's part of the teaching process. It's part of teaching is a relationship, right? And
Yes, it
in any interpersonal relationship, friendship, business,
It's
anything.
give and it's
There's
take.
give and there's take. It's a two-way street,
And what are you
right?
taking?
And so, yeah. Teaching is
That look, coming
an
in
art
so
form.
we had a carnival. He is there. Giving out funnel cake. Not
course.
giving out, but selling these funnel cakes, right? Some people not feeling it all the way because they're like, charging this much to the kids. I'm just like, it's dope to see a brother selling funnel cakes with a crown on and all of this
For black
branding.
kids, yeah.
I'm like, all this branding, and it was a powerful thing. I'm like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
He's literally he's selling something they want. Is a need that they didn't know they had.
Right.
That's really what I
Ooh, that's the
love.
thing.
When people don't know, like, how you gonna do a funnel cake business? Who don't like funnel cake, yo? Like, you don't like funnel
Funnel
cake?
cake is literally
Oh,
like the best.
I don't
It's
really
so
like
good.
funnel cake. Well, don't like funnel cake, but I know like 30 people who do. I got people who's hit me up like, yo, where you gonna be? I was like, this is you gotta find that
Follow
school,
him,
follow his
follow him,
page,
yeah.
yo. So just sitting with that, I chop it up with him and we connect off just like black man, like high level thought, like, yo, Nipsey
Yeah.
was on this, and I was like, that's what I was after that. And just all of these intersections. Because we're both black men from Baltimore. And that experience is just filled with so
Very
much.
unique.
Where you're not like as black men, we're gonna have so many similarities coming up in this space. And at a similar time frame.
Yeah.
So just having that conversation, he gave me a lot of light. We exchanged contacts and I kept contact. That's a big thing I need y'all to understand about networking too. Keep contact and keep contact with purpose. Don't keep contact with like don't keep contact and only wait for when you need somebody. Right. And
support
and add value.
Keep contact and maintain support.
And add value.
Yeah.
Adding value is a repost to this page. Adding value is word of mouth. Have you seen a guy from Blaze? Have you seen Samaya in her Codetta Big Shot? Have you seen this?
I've told people about this podcast.
But it's naturally gonna happen.
Yeah.
But it's on you. It's in you. It's not on you.
I'm saying I have told people about your podcast before this episode, and I told people I'm gonna be on that podcast. So yeah, we're gonna post it
already. It's
gonna be great.
Already, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful life. And that's back to speaking life over everything. Like we are at a point where we have made it beyond survival.
Yeah, now we're on thrival.
Yes, thrival. And when I say it, I mean it because the mindset has to shift for thriving. And that's what we were speaking on earlier.
Yeah, it's generational, right? Like our parents' my parents' generation. So like I'm the youngest in my siblings. So it's kind of, my oldest sibling is 54. My parents, my mom will be 71 this year. So it's kind of like 3 generations, well, 4.5, 5 generations but in really like
you said 6, so
it's only like 3. So like my parents are one generation. I would say my older siblings are kind of in another generation. Then there's me and my brother, because there's a 10-year gap. There's like me. I have a brother that's 2 years older than me, Khalid. Shout out One Dope Teach. And all of us are teachers in some way, shape, or form, because my parents are both educators. Education is so important to us. It's important to the world.
And that's something I want to big up as well. I'm still educating, so
you never stop educating.
I am a tutor for Joy Education.
Talk about it.
Joy Education. It is a space where we provide virtual literacy.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so needed.
Elementary, middle school students.
That's one of the biggest deficits coming out of the pandemic is child literacy.
With that being said, because I plugged it, I want to add in this.
Yeah.
What was your favorite book growing up, and what do you think is the biggest thing in the way of people having a love for reading? Because that's a big one to unpack. But I'm having to reel these questions off lately because I understood my love for reading came from reading Malcolm X. Autobiography of Malcolm X. And my father also gave me like Tupac's poetry book when I was younger. So that also gave me, I like opened it up in high school and was like, yo, so that's why he's so cold on the track. And like, even if you don't like his flow, his words were heavy because he started with the pen and the pad. So that's where I went.
Wordsmith first. So, okay, my favorite book growing up, well, as a kid, let me think. I'm a Harry Potter nerd,
Harry Potter be getting mad love. The kids, I had some kids who
love Harry Potter.
Big enough Harry Potter.
Shout out to Prisoner of Azkaban. I probably read that book. I mean, I've read all of them multiple times, but Prisoner of Azkaban I've read the most. That's my favorite one. The Phantom Tollbooth is also one of my favorite books. My sister gave me that book for my 8th birthday, I think. My favorite book now as an adult is East of Eden by John Steinbeck. But my favorite author is F. Scott Fitzgerald, strangely enough. I really love like his short stories and just, the imagery he uses and stuff. So, oh shoot. I got to tap Bird's over here scrapping.
John Steinbeck wrote something else that
The Pearl, wrote.
Pearl, that was the one for me in high school.
Yeah, it was a good one.
I had a moment
with
that.
Yeah, we read that. I think I was in 7th grade when we read that. That was a good one. You mentioned The Alchemist in one of your podcasts. It's such a good book.
I gotta go back. I gotta reread certain joints now because it's like
you have a different perspective.
Yeah,
so
and that's the part.
Right? It's so
that's
different.
The part that's so heavy because it's like listening to certain albums again. When I get older, I'm like, it's kind of not.
And what's crazy
for me right now?
I talk about this. Not to get too religious or spiritual. But I'm Muslim. That's at the forefront of my. My identity. Absolutely. I'm a Black Muslim woman. You'll see that in my bio. Black Muslim woman owned premium dessert bakery. Yes. And, we're in the middle of the month of Ramadan. There's a holy month for Muslims. And in this month, we're encouraged to read the Quran front to back every year, once a year. And so the experience that I have doing that, every time I read the Quran, there's something different that I get from it. Something different jumps out at me, and it kind of depends on like what I'm going through at that point. What stands out to me more or less in that phase of my life. And it's it's similar. It's a great read, and you have to review it. Nothing happens if you don't. You're encouraged to read it once a year, and there's so much wisdom in that recommendation, that divine recommendation, because God wants us to re-experience His word at least once a year, at minimum, right? We should be reading it more often.
Consistency is repetition, and repetition brings mastery. Ooh. So when we're walking around with one interpretation of our first read, that's the ego. The ego says, yo, I did 10 push-ups. Look at me. Are you going to fear somebody? Do 100. Are you going to fear somebody who's learned 10,000 kicks? Or the dude who mastered one?
Right.
Who did one kick 10,000 times. He's just been kicking the tree 10,000 times. I'm not walking near him. I don't want to set him off. The guy with 10,000 kicks, he's like, hey, check out this cool kick.
Not racing him.
You might could just catch him in the neck when he do the backflip. He might do the backflip kick and like pass out. So it's like, this is my point is, someone said you could read just one book and be set. Just read one book multiple times, and people don't always pick up on that. Different points of your life call for different responses, and a different person. Like this state that I'm in,
you're never the same person twice.
This state that I'm in doesn't need stability, right? And that's the part that people are missing. They're scared, and stability doesn't always bring growth. Things don't go in stable environments.
I wrote this recently that it's okay to change major parts. I wrote this in a letter to a loved one. It's okay to change major parts of yourself if you find that they don't serve you anymore. That's a very special type of change, and it's called growth. But you gotta know yourself first. And
that's a cold breakup.
No, you know what? No, it's crazy. It wasn't even to him. It wasn't to him. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's okay to grow. It's okay to, as you in another podcast you talking about this. You got to get naked and look in the mirror. You gotta look at yourself.
Again, and I mean this. Shout out to C Boogie Productions, Rashad Coates.
Yes.
Shout out to that brother. He has a stretch therapy business in Houston. He is from our city. Stretch therapy, Stretch City Wellness, active in the community. And he's a reference for me. When I talk about what I can do, I used to listen to his podcast, and I still would tap in from time to time. And he would just say, sometimes you got to just get in that mirror and be honest with all that you are.
Everything.
And look at everything you do. Do
every
a full
fat roll, every
full inventory. Because when you know what you got, ain't nobody finna tell you what you got.
Exactly.
When you know what you got.
I know. Yes, and?
Yeah, I know.
What else? I know it's fly.
She said, "What you think? You cute?"
I know.
I mean, I could be.
No, I know I'm cute.
I know. I hit her with the could be because I want to act dumb to it. I could be. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know you feeling me. You feeling me?
No.
I ain't feeling you. You feeling me? Why you smiling like that? You giggling?
Don't be smiling.
What's my name, Daddy? Oh yeah, that's my name. Yeah. I mean, I'm Marquis, Charm City Bipper, guy from a place.
Oh my God.
It's those moments.
Right.
You know, some moments, and it's like. I sit with this. It's like sometimes you taking advice from people that ain't never had nobody smile when they enter the room, and ain't never had nobody smile when they wasn't there. I mean, had people smile when they wasn't there.
Right?
When they entered the room, nobody smiled when they wasn't there.
I have only recently, like within the last 1 or 2 years, come to really stand in and embrace my singularity and my exceptionality as a being, as a human. People my whole life have told me, like, I remember this conversation with this guy I went to college with. It was like he was in my fraternity. Shout out to KK Psi, Ada Row chapter at Westchester University. Matt Pishko, he was the vice president of membership, and he told me about myself. He said, "You are very charismatic, and you're the type of person who, when you walk in, you don't even realize this, but when you walk into a room, everybody stops what they're doing, and everybody's looking at you. Yeah. And you don't even realize it. Yeah. And I have had people, like I've had a lot of conversations and experiences in the last couple years that have helped me and have met people who've told me there's something about you, and I don't know what it is.
It's the God in you.
But
It's the God in you.
Ooh, that part. Muslims, we call it the Nur. Nur means light. The Nur of Allah. It's God's light.
Nur of Allah.
And so I have come to realize, like, okay, people have been telling me, you're smart, you're funny, you're cool, you're charismatic, everybody loves you, everybody's parents love you. You always, you're at the top of your class, you're a leadership position in anything and everything that you do. Great at this, great at that. There's nothing you can't do. People have been telling me this. My parents are very effusive verbally too. They tell me, I'm proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I'm proud to know you. Proud to be your parent. That's important too. Tell your kids you love them and they're proud of them every single day. Don't let them go to sleep without hearing that from you. And hearing that, it's not that it wasn't that I took it for granted or I was desensitized to it, but it was normalized for me to the point where I didn't fully recognize my exceptionality. And I've recently grown to recognize I'm exceptional. Just being me, I don't have to try too hard.
I think what happens is it comes when you're prepared for it.
Yeah,
because it's a major responsibility to have that light. Mm-hmm. And when you're blessed with it, sometimes it turns into a curse because ego takes the forefront.
Yes.
And y'all all should be like this too. Why you ain't doing this? And it's like I understand that this is what I'm allowed to be. I'm allowed to be Marquis Carrington. I'm allowed to be a teacher. I'm allowed to be a podcaster. I'm allowed to do these things. I'm allowed to share space with you in this moment in a way that we are sharing it, right? I could not be doing this right now. And that's what I said. I was working in spaces that I resented so damn much. But I had to be in them to understand you can go back there, bro.
It gives you a greater sense of appreciation.
It was like Steve Harvey says this. He was speaking on how it's people who are asking for $100,000. You got 50. You just had 36. You ain't smile about 50, but you begging for 100. I'm smiling at 18. I was smiling when I had my first part-time job. I was like, I'm getting bread. Ooh, I can pay a couple bills with this. I'm helping mom out.
But you know what that is too?
The little wins
it's
win.
Having an attitude of gratitude, right? Like when I pray to God, I always start by thanking God for what I have. Because I really think, I believe in, in what you put out comes back to you, right? The kind of the law of attraction, right?
Thankful for even knowing him. Thankful to know. Thankful to know you can pray to him.
Yes,
that's a different vibe.
I literally was like, thank you for this, for making me the spiritual being that I am, that has the awareness to be able to have a relationship with God.
I'm thankful to know I'm heard by you.
Yes.
Because it's people that
because
I'm thankful that
your prayers be getting answered.
Because, and I gotta constantly remind myself, sometimes I be on my own understanding, and my own understanding come with doubt and worry and fear and confusion, and then I be looking at money when I don't need to be looking at money. He's like, I told you your value.
Yep.
I told you you are the money. I told you are the money. All of it, like, I be hungry some days, and I be like, should I put it on and somebody like, you trying to go to eat? I got it.
Right. Ooh, love that.
show up to the job. Is food there already? I was like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you for that.
You the one.
And I showed up late. That be the part. I show up late, and I was thinking about getting food the whole time. I show up, and it's waiting for me. But then it's the part that's wilder. Sometimes I'm late, and I'm like, I'm going to go grab something. It's like, go there. Because I told you go there. That's obedience, too. Because it's like, the thing is, your gut got a feeling. Your heart got a feeling. Your mind got a feeling. You got to discern which one, like, you got to discern where it's coming from. And sometimes it's hard because in this space, ego is honored too much.
Yep, way too much.
I'm nobody first. I got to start everything. Sometimes I want to start this with that. I'm nobody first. I'm a God from a place. I'm nobody. I'm allowed to be. I'm a child of God. I'm a spirit having a human experience. And I'm an energy that came before me because it transferred. And everybody I've read about as a kid, and your ancestor
Mhm.
that may also be my ancestor, and
Right.
I may not be hip to it in this moment, is an energy that we carrying forth through treats, through great messages on a Monday morning. And it may not come out. Who knows when it's coming out? Because I always preface with that.
See.
Y'all get it when you get it.
Yes.
But I'm just so grateful, and I know your relationship with God got to be heavy.
Oh,
But
it's ridiculous.
like attracts like.
And that's, I mean, people talk about energies and stuff, but it's really, I had a deep conversation with a friend of mine about my concept of the soul. Not to get too esoteric here or spiritual, but
I like to let's dive deep.
let's get esoteric and spiritual.
Yes.
On a Monday. So my understanding of soul, the concept of soulmates is, I do believe that there is a realm of the unseen, right? Like we, as believers, we believe in the unseen. So there's a spiritual realm that, your soul was in existence before your physical body was. And I think people that we perceive to be, what you meet somebody and you feel an intense connection with them, that's somebody that your soul knew. It might not be a romantic connection. I have very platonic friends that I think like, oh, that's my soulmate. Like I've known you for 15 years, and you're completely, everything about you is the everything that you do is the antithesis of what I do and what I believe. And yet I love you so deeply.
Shout out to
I
my
love you
people.
so deeply.
Yes.
And there's nothing you could do or say to break the bond that we share. That's my soulmate, and he knows he's probably not gonna watch this.
My people know.
But shout out to
look,
shout out to my soulmate.
My person that is like that since kids, like came up to me like, "You gonna be my friend?" I said, "Huh."
Well, all right,
okay. I'm not going to disagree with that. That was a good.
Aggressive.
That was a good
Didn't sound like I had
right
option.
there. Yeah, like okay. And the way that they show up is loyalty 1st. And I've done things where I wasn't my fullest self. I said, "You ain't that. You better than that." And they didn't allow me to fall into it. And it's like I get confused because like, how do I show up for this type of person with such a strong energy?
That's so funny. He literally just texted me. That's wild. You want to talk about spiritual stuff? I ain't talked to this man in however long. He just texted me.
When I say my person for life, and I'm grateful that, man, it's wild because it's like we connect and we look at life different. But we look at it differently, but it's similar.
Yes.
I come back to this. It's not about the outside. It's about character and values. And from the first early meetings, she understood my character and my values. And she always sees where I'm falling short. And it's like, patch this up.
Yeah.
And like right now, this is a confusing thing. Like I said, for a lot of people. But I've been able to show them some tangibles. I said, the Zuckerberg has slid something into my deposit. I'm having different moments, but I'm elevating. And I'm meeting awesome individuals. I got a podcast coming out today that's fire.
Okay.
With a real estate agent who gets busy. Jones Finds Home Team.
Oh.
Awesome.
I think I know them.
Okay. Shout out to that.
Do I know them?
Baltimore, Maryland.
Yeah. What's her name?
Beatrice and Maya. I did an earlier.
Definitely know that.
But
name.
Brandon Jones is the real estate agent that I interviewed, and we had a great conversation. And he mentioned a lot of things that, and as well as you have, but he's mentioned some things where it's like that entrepreneurial spirit. It is, I'm gonna do what I don't want to do now, so I can do what I want later. I'm gonna sit in Barnes and Nobles and just read a chapter of this book I can't purchase in this moment, but I'm going to read a chapter. I'm going to show up to this Barnes and Nobles in Towson, read this chapter, or in White Marsh, and read a chapter and dip. And we were I was laughing with him, like,
marinate on it,
brother. Like, it's so many other things you could have did out there. It's movies, it's emotions, it's malls. It's like you could do all of this.
IKEA, walking around getting lost.
Real talk. But this is what you chose to do, and oftentimes this thing we're choosing to do isn't honored by everybody. Yo, what you doing?
This is true.
What you doing in the Barnes
you
and Nobles,
got
bro?
your little business or your little cupcakes.
if you haven't been seen out doing something that didn't make sense to people that have judged the hell out of you, you ain't really an entrepreneur
You're
yet.
not an entrepreneur.
Because I done got caught in some spots. I was like, that dude went to school with me and he used to make fun of me.
Yep.
I'm going to do this anyway. Get busy.
Yep.
And it's like, the flower doesn't bloom until like a while later. Like that seed is in the earth.
Yep.
And like it's going through. Like it's in darkness.
It's the winter.
Right, it's the winter.
The soil is hard.
Right, the soil is hard, and like you having moments that you can't explain to nobody. When I say you can't explain, and that's why faith is such a big thing for me.
Sound crazy talking about like, bro. Seriously, when I tell people, and this is why I've been telling people this a lot lately, because if you don't know, so Codetta Bake Shop, we haven't really talked about the business at all.
It's just,
but it's okay though. It's a premium desserts bakery. Our specialty is cheesecake. We also do cupcakes, wedding cakes. We do a lot of catering, corporate orders, all of that.
I got one.
We got a grant from the Downtown Partnership of Baltimore. Shout out to the Boost program. Shout out to Shalonda Stokes, president of the Downtown Partnership, who had a vision to bring more black businesses to the downtown area. Shout out to Sam Story, who's the program runner for the Boost program. And shout out to all my other winners of the first round of Boost from 2 years ago. There's 5 businesses that won $50,000 and a host of wraparound support resources from the Downtown Partnership to get our first storefront. So they were NKB Skin Esthetician over on Charles Street, Elite Seekers Bridal, which just opened up their design house where you can go and be part of the design process for your wedding gown. There's a Black Genius Art Show owned by Brian Robinson. It's an apparel brand. It's an art brand. Create every day is his motto. Amazing. That's 106 North Utah Street, couple doors down from Lexington Market. And then MRI Studios is the last one. They're trying to be the AAU of hip hop.
I would love to talk to any of you if you're interested.
I'm gonna put you on. I got you.
I'm a guy from a place.
Yeah, they'll be around.
Yes, indeed.
So but yeah, I tell people Codetta Bake Shop started in my studio apartment in Bolton Hill. Back in 2018, very, very under. We only sold maybe one cheesecake a month. Maybe we only did cheesecake, and then my ex, we were selling cheesecake slices at his job, and in the pandemic is when we really started popping off. So 2020 hit, March, everything shut down. I'm at home. I'm like, dang, baking is my stress relieving activity. So I'm like, I'm gonna bake all this stuff, but I live alone. I'm not gonna eat this. I'm not going to gain 1,000 pounds. So we started selling on Instagram, delivered around the city. At this point, then we moved over to his house, which is actually over here in I'm in Riverside. So this is like our customer base, right over here. These people know us. They know they F with Codetta heavy over here in Riverside and Fed Hill.
I'm loving everything you're saying right now.
Yeah. So we were there in May 2020. We started selling, and we were doing the numbers like, bro, this is crazy. And then I ended up leaving my job in September of 2020 for a host of reasons. There was my personal emotional state being a Black woman in America, in the wake of Breonna Taylor's murder, Ahmaud Arbery's murder, George Floyd's murder, and just all the social turmoil going on then. My job satisfaction plummeted because as a band director, you can't really do your job virtually. So what I was left with was all the stuff that I didn't like about my job. Meanwhile, the bakery business is doing this. And because people need desserts when they're going through stuff. And everybody was going through stuff in 2020. So crunch the numbers. I was like, I think I can leave my job maybe. And then my ex got diagnosed with cancer and had to have emergency surgery. That was like the straw that broke the camel's back on that. And he was fine. He's as far as I know, he's cancer free. Had the surgery and everything, but it was like, he has 2 kids, and I was like, when the pandemic first hit, I was homeschooling them pretty much, and so I was like, dag, I can't do my job from a mental and emotional standpoint. I can't do my job that I now hate and juggle this business, which is taking off and I love, and be here to support my partner and his kids. I can't do all of that. So something's got to go. And if the something that had to go was the job that was like causing me more stress and emotional unrest.
And what does it look like telling everybody you're leaving your career?
Oh, I cried for weeks.
Yep.
That was so incredibly difficult. And to all my people out there who have a side hustle and a job, that is one of the biggest and most difficult decisions that you will make, to leave that job. But it's great on the other side. I'm
And
gonna tell you this.
what do you have to go outside with? God.
Yeah,
Faith.
You step out on faith.
You got to step out on faith.
And it was, it was hustle. It was, okay, I got to replace if I'm going to live, if I'm going to not be homeless once this EFMLA runs out, I got to hustle, and I have to replace my salary. And I did that in 4 months.
Comfort in discomfort.
Oh, yes.
Find comfort in dis-ease.
That's a bit of advice that I gave.
You're not going to be at ease.
That's where growth happens.
That's where growth happens.
Outside of your comfort zone.
Outside of your comfort zone. Shout out to Daily Growth Yoga. That brother stepped into space. I don't know why you ain't watching that one. Watch that one. That brother's talking. Some real talk, but it's true. He was in corporate America as a marketing agent. He was selling marketing programs to small businesses.
Wow.
Knowing at some point that this ain't working for that small business. Y'all paying us $600 a month for marketing. Y'all don't have that budget. Where's this coming from? And these businesses are dying paying for marketing.
That ain't working.
And he knows what he's doing. He started to call himself the corporate sniper. He got into yoga through his journey and was a black male yogi in Baltimore, Maryland.
Wow.
My mentor is Changa Bell, and he was doing it in the late 90s. But coming across, like I said, Marquis Standback, Daily Growth Yoga was like a younger version of Changa, and I don't think they know each other. So it's funny to be able to connect with individuals based on what someone gave me, and it's like I still had to be humble enough to accept what Changa was giving me, and all these different things I'm sitting with. But I'm bringing that up to say that sometimes we're in spaces and we know it's not right, but we continue because it's making everything else in our life seem right. But if you look long enough, you know that everything in our life ain't right
that
either.
Ain't right either. Yeah, exactly.
So it's like I was in a relationship with my ex, just to say I was in it, and it sound wild to tell people I didn't want to be with her no more. And she, like, we've gotten to a point we understand why we're not together. But it's like in that moment, it's hard to say this don't work for me. But
don't be afraid. Take it from me. Don't be afraid to break an engagement.
What's harder is having regret.
Yes.
About staying in a space you weren't meant to be in. Because I keep saying this. If I stayed at the school, I would have lived long enough to be the villain. I wouldn't have went out with flowers. It wouldn't have been pretty.
You gotta know when. So there's a certain point, and people talk about this a lot in terms of interpersonal relationships, but also like work environments. That there is a certain amount of struggle that is healthy, that is okay. But you got to know where the line is, right? When you start, when something in you starts to change, when you're in an environment, whether it's a work environment or a relationship that starts to change who you are and how you show up, that's not, if you're a person who, like you and like me, who loves yourself, who knows yourself. I was in a relationship where I realized like, oh, I started like fussing and like and yelling and shouting and stuff like that. This was not my most recent relationship, but another one. I was like,
It's out of character.
This is not me.
Absolutely.
And if you can take me out of me, you gotta go. Because I love me and I don't want to see me change. And if you're the reason that me is changing, you gotta go.
And if you're accepting me as something that isn't me, you don't truly know me or value me.
Exactly.
And it's just
that part.
I just sit with it. I sit with it. I live in it. I'm grateful for it. The one thing I'm thinking about, and it's coming back to me again. I'm of the belief that God will not make me sacrifice my body, mind, and soul. My mind will trick me to think that I'm in pain or that I'm going through something that's not going. The mind has illusion, but he's not going to make me sacrifice my body, mind, and soul. And if it is a moment where I'm going through something heavy, I also believe that it's so I can.
There's a reason for that.
Right. It's a reason, and I can give something to someone later.
Yep. You're going through something, but you got to go through it
to get to where I asked him, can I be there? Yeah.
Yeah, but you got
but look, it's like, Yeah, you can go to Mexico, but I need you to understand, brother, it's gonna be a lot to get there.
You're gonna be on the back of a truck in a burlap sack.
We asking we asking to be in the palace, but your family don't come from palaces.
Right.
So to get you to the palace from where you at, it's gonna be some moments. It's gonna be some trials and tribulations.
Yes.
But it's meant for your greatness. And if you're not invested in every part of the process, you fooled yourself.
And that's the thing. Like I tell people, one of my biggest philosophies in life is there's no such thing as a bad experience. There are bad situations.
It's just experiences.
But everything is a good experience if you use it as such. You got to use it as such, right?
And moments.
Yes.
Everything is a moment.
You have a moment. Everything is temporary, good and bad.
Yes.
You have your ups and your downs. So you got to learn to live in your ups, right? And enjoy them, embrace them, and learn from your downs. Live in your ups and learn from your downs.
And then store up in the summer.
Yes.
Because store up in the ups, because it's going to come, the downturn always comes back, but it's like when you are grateful in every season, it just flows as it's supposed to. But like, and just as I'm stuck on this so much lately, God will make me give away the sneakers. God will, and I'm like, I had to give it away. God will make me change the car if it comes to it. I may have to sell off possessions. I may have to give things away and not earn money for it.
Yep.
Right? I may have to. I'm all right with all of it falling away, as long as I keep this beautiful skin he put me in. And if some of this goes away because it's vanity, right? I'm fine with that too. But I'm just like, sometimes, and I'll say me personally, I was asking for things and ignoring the things I had to let go of to get to it. I'm talking about I want to lose weight, but I'm not finna give up cheesecake. But I'm about to go eat some cheesecake.
That's right. I brought him some cheesecake.
But I'm saying, I'm talking about I want to get healthy, but I'm not trying to cut the Netflix off and go to the gym. I'm too comfortable in the bed.
Right.
Like I don't even have a conception of motion. So like I'm just
nothing worth having is easy to attain.
And if it is easy, it ain't yours.
It ain't yours, and it's not worth having.
You got it on credit, and when they come to collect. They come to collect in a heavy way. And you better have what they asking for.
Yeah. It's wild, man. All lessons.
Ooh. What is the greatest advice you've ever received?
Ooh. The greatest advice.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one for me, because I be having some advices. Advisories.
I already shared about what my dad said, be careful. Be very, very careful who you call your friends. So I'm gonna give some bits of advice from an entrepreneurial standpoint.
Beautiful.
Because this is something that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, especially starting out. Pricing your stuff, knowing your worth, knowing your value. I think a lot of stuff comes down to knowing your value, just in general. In terms of your personal life, or if you're an entrepreneur or whatever. But my cousin actually told me this. She said that someone told her. She was an entrepreneur too. She said, if somebody doesn't want to pay your prices, that's not your customer. And kind of along those lines, if you don't have people telling you that you're charging too much, then you're not charging enough. You should not... if you're an entrepreneur and you are selling a product, whether that be your intellectual property, whether it be a physical product, a service. No, if
you're gonna figure out how.
They'll figure out how. And then if you know your value, stand in your value. And there is a point, and we've kind of gone through this as a company where our pricing was not much lower, but it was lower starting out, because you do have to, build your brand. But now our pricing is such that I do have people telling me, they'll ask me for a quote on a cake, and they'll be like, oh, can I get something smaller? That's a lot. I'm like, yeah, sure, you can get something smaller. Or like, oh, I didn't expect it to be that expensive. Oh, yeah, well, that's our pricing. I can recommend you to another bakery if you'd like.
I love that. I love every bit of it.
Because I don't turn my oven on until the invoice is paid.
Ooh, and this is what's so heavy. This is what's so heavy.
You gotta know your worth.
You have to know your worth. There
First
is
of all, you gotta
nothing.
have worth. First of all, you gotta build the worth. Then you got to know it. But building the worth that's a whole nother episode.
I may not say nothing else for the rest of this. I just need that to let it sizzle in your soul.
Yeah. Real talk though.
Oh my goodness.
I believe that everybody has something of value to
Yes.
give. I think a lot of people get caught up in other people's perception of their value or
I call it poverty mindset.
Yes.
And the reason I call it poverty mindset is because people will start out with, well, I wouldn't pay for that. I wouldn't pay that much for that. So how could I charge that much? And then you have people who double
would not
down.
Pay our prices.
Right. That's the part.
Okay,
but
because
it
I
doesn't
know how
mean,
to make it.
Right. But it doesn't mean that that's not the value of
Yes.
it. And that's really what I sit with is like, I have to just, I'm constantly like, instead of saying, why are they charging that much? I say, how can I charge that much?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
How can I charge that much for the services I provide?
Mm-hmm.
Because there's something, because you're meeting that standard somewhere. Somebody's paying that price. And whether it's, and this is also the problem, there are hella mediocre businesses with high prices.
Ooh.
But it's like,
I'm not even.
So when I say that, y'all out here underselling yourself.
Yes.
Right now, this space has been a lot of things for me because I'm eating game every day. And
that's great. I love that for you.
I'm adding value.
Yeah.
I've added value before I asked for anything. And I've recognized the people that I'm bringing on here are valuable. And the people who are watching this understand that y'all are valuable, right?
It's true.
I see value before people tell me it's value. Shout out to John Wells at Lord Luck. He has top 5 album of the year. I got to sit on it. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry.
Don't be sorry.
I truly love this album because it's Baltimore front to back. He is not what you expect a Baltimore rapper to be.
I love that. I love shaking up people's expectations.
Right? He's not what you expect a Baltimore rapper to be. And your weak ass stereotypes and perceptions have limited your ability to listen to this with your ears open. No Drugs in Heaven is one of the greatest songs I've heard in a long time.
I got some homework.
I don't want to, because I don't like overdoing. But I'm telling you, like, I'm listening to it and he's narrating his father's, he's not even narrating. He's rapping from his father's perspective about his life story.
Wow.
So it's like it starts, I was born in 1968 or 60. He said I was born in the year of his father. And it's just, I'm horrible with lyrics because I write myself, so I don't like to memorize other people's words too much.
Yeah.
But it's like so many moments. And I laughed because in our interview we spoke on it. And then I listened to it again and I heard this part where he says his father was following an ambulance that he was in after he hurt his leg. And then he broke his leg. And his father got in an accident at Monument in Madison. And I think when Monument and Madison converged, I'm like, yo, my grandmother lived on Chester Street, down the street from Northeast Market. You was in an ambulance in an accident down the street from where I was probably drinking a Huggy juice and eating some Cheetos.
Baltimore.
Eating some hot fries.
Right.
Or like that. So when I sit with like all of these moments we are having together, like we grieve together and we don't know it. We win together and we don't always allow ourselves to.
And we need to. Like another thing that I've recently embraced is, we talk about the need we talked about reaching out.
Yes.
As somebody who's successful in my own right, by all optics. And even, the way that I feel successful because I'm doing what I love. It's not it's not about money. But it's just, I'm doing what I love and I make people happy, and making people happy makes me happy.
You get what you give.
But I've had so many experiences recently that showed me, okay, your community, your network is wider than you even know, and people want to show up for you, so you need to ask them. And literally in the last 4 or 5 months I've been doing that. Quick story. My followers know this too. My mom got in a car accident in November. It was like right before Thanksgiving. Car was totaled. Mom was fine. I got a payout because the used car industry right now is like wild. Allowed me to get a much better car. All of this was God.
Thank you, Lord.
But that day, I posted on our Instagram like, oh, got in a car accident. Everything's great. I had a wedding to deliver that night. Ooh, it was nuts. Immediately, I had people texting me, hey, do you need me to come help at the shop? Do you need my car? Do you need me to come pick up your mom? People were reaching out to me. And I'm like, wow, this is so, like, I was in tears, because I was stressed, but also in tears because of the outpouring of support. And so now I'm like, okay, well, let me ask, right? Let me not overload my plate because I know that I can do it myself, but I don't have to. For example, we have an event coming up. Shout out to all these people I'm about to name, but we have a community iftar that you need to come to for sure. It's April 16th. Okay. So this might air after that, but it's okay. But
maybe before.
Maybe before.
Yes, I've been moving a little quicker lately, so we're gonna see how it goes.
So yeah, I mean, iftar is the meal that Muslims use to break their fast. It's just dinner, but there's a prayer. We break our fast with something light. There's a prayer, and then there's like a dinner, and so this will be our third one. The first one we actually hosted here in Riverside Park 2 years ago, and we just opened it up to the community. Anybody is welcome to come for free food. And usually we do all the cooking and we just be in there slaving for like 8 to 12 hours. And this year I was like, you know what? I know a lot of other food businesses that make halal food, that make really good food, that I'm very close personal friends with. So now we got Boss Burger is pulling up with some food, halal meatballs. Neapol is coming with some food. Soul Smoked is coming with food.
Beautiful.
I'm cooking because y'all know I can bake, but
blessings.
I can also burn,
Blessings.
So, and so now I'm like, oh, well, this is going to be a much easier event on me. It's easier on me. And I have the support of my friends and my community that will help me to do this. And it's going to be that much better. It's going to grow exponentially and be much better for everybody. And I'll actually be able to enjoy it. And that's just about knowing your network and reaching out to your network. And these are all good people who I mentioned the event to them. I said, I just want you to come. And they said, oh, well, I'll bring some food. I'll donate some food. All right.
April 16th.
Say less.
Iftar.
Iftar.
April 16th.
Sunday, April 16th, around sundown, around about 7:30. It's going to be at our current location, 809 Light Street. We're baking out of a church. You want to talk about community and like expanding your community. I'm Muslim, like I said, is the forefront of my identity. But we bake out of a church. The shout out to Tim, the pastor at Light Street Presbyterian Church. That community has been so incredibly welcoming to us. So incredibly welcoming. And we collab with them. I mean, it's like we're part of the family. And doing stuff with them, we've invited the congregation to this iftar, and some of them came last year, and it was beautiful. And it's something that now even, me and my friends are noticing there's a lot more Islam that's starting to become part of mainstream culture in the world. Like they said in Britain, they lit up the streets in green lights, which green is an important color for Muslims. It was supposedly the Prophet's favorite color. And so people are becoming more aware of Islam and wanting more opportunities to get to know Muslims. And this is a great one. If that's you, this is a really great opportunity to come and eat some free food. And of course, we're making dessert.
Can you argue with that?
Nope.
But somebody will, and you better shut your mouth, fool. You better come on outside. I'm in such a joyous space.
Oh, good.
I'm in a space of happiness and bliss lately because what it takes to get to some of these interviews is not seen, and what it takes to make sure everything is as it's supposed to be is not always understood. And I'm grateful to be able to have a space where individuals such as yourself can make people aware of these things.
Yes.
I'm blessed, and I'm just happy to hold the space that I do.
And thank you, because it's needed.
I'm reeling. Thank you. But it's hard to say you're welcome because I don't feel as if I have the onus. It's so awkward.
No, but because this is, I mean, this is a two-way thing,
It
right? Like I
is.
love
No.
sharing with people and having conversations like this. It helps my soul.
I'll say one of the things I've struggled with lately is owning the work.
Mm-hmm.
Cause it's like this thing of it's not mine. I look at it as a download. I was driving down the street one day and God, and I don't, and I struggle even saying how I speak with the highest.
But you do.
But change the name to Charm City Bipper.
Mm-hmm.
I said, why? Change the name to Charm City Bipper. Okay, change my name.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, cuz, you want to do a podcast? Yeah, bet. Let's do it. He said, we were going to do it. He said we were going to do it. So I don't know. I do gotta get my car washed. Feed two birds with one seed.
Right.
Let's get in the car. We literally drive to the Royal Farms up the street with the microphones in our hand. If anybody watched that first one, is a cut and I'm paying for the car wash. We drive through and I make a car wash joke.
Yeah.
After that, I'm solidified in the fact that I have a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin's like, you do interviews? Like, no, I didn't really look at it as an interview. I just was like, I'm talking to my cousin because he had a podcast with somebody else and he didn't make a video. And it was all these different things. A lot of people are scared to put their face on things. I'm not saying that to him specifically, but a lot of people don't want to step up in front because, like I said
it's very
earlier
vulnerable.
To you, and success also means death here.
Yep.
Success has meant death in this space for too long. I had to catch the bus to school, to Poly, and go past the McDonald's that Lil Scooter was murdered at. Like I've had, I knew people who were like prominent on the scene, and one of them was killed at his doorstep. Like people were jealous of him, and it was just something wild going on. So all of these are stories that my family is armed with when I'm telling them about what I'm interested in. Mother's like, she knew of people who's committed suicide. She knows all of these different things that are like negative to the point where it's like, I don't need that when I'm walking out this door.
Yeah.
But sometimes that's what I'm sitting with. So when I'm also reeling with the fact that I was depressed and I was in dark spaces where I contemplated, I was in spaces where people said I would not come back. I was in a psych ward at one point in my life, and I've had to be vulnerable about that. But I was in a psych ward, labeled something that people don't release the label of. And they also don't go teach in the school for 3 years after they're labeled that. So when I say
here you are.
Absolutely. And when I say I'm not responsible, that's who I'm saying thank you, God, for making this possible. And it's like it's weird because ego and fear are like, do you really want to lead with that? Well, that's why you're here. So lead with who makes you possible. I can't lead with anything other than that. And as of late is, like I said, is a strange space, and at times it's scary because it's a powerful space.
Powerful medium.
And it's not mine.
Yeah.
It's not mine to hold in that way. I'm a conduit.
I was literally just about to say that.
That's the word of the cast.
Conduit.
And I'm silent too a lot because I don't want to interrupt what you're giving, because you're giving everything without me even asking you to. Like, you spoke on community. You spoke on grief sparking greatness. Because not only did you speak about your personal experience, you spoke about Black individuals who were murdered within a time frame where you are finding yourself. My whole catalyst to I'm not fucking stopping, and I gotta say it that way, was Freddie Gray being murdered. And the reaction looking like it did in other cities, but me seeing it in mine and saying, no way.
Right.
No, not at all. Y'all not gonna put on no Black avatar. Y'all gonna put no Black profile pick up, walk around with your fist up in a $1,500 camera and go back inside after this. I'm not doing this no more. I'm not about to wait on somebody to fix our youth. I'm not about to beg somebody to do it. I'm going to go find a way to do it myself. And I didn't know what it would look like, but it was a constant theme in my life of how am I showing up for the people around me? How am I showing up for myself? How am I representing the people that look like me when I step into spaces? Sometimes people are like, and I used to say it, and I get mad that I ever said it, but I understand why I said it. I'm not nobody's role model. I'm a role model every day I wake up.
Yes, you are. 1000%.
I'm a model for myself and others.
Yep. You're a role model for your past self.
Yes. Yes. And I'm a role model for my future self who may be weary. Because when I get weary, it's like, bro, what are you talking about?
Look what you did last week.
Look where you've been.
Look what you just, yeah.
Look where you've been, and this is where you are because of where you've been. Mm-hmm. You're not here because somebody dropped you here and said, take care of yourself.
No, you're here intentionally.
You walked into it.
You're here on purpose. There's another episode of Hidden Brain. I talk about this podcast a lot.
Look,
I really do. I love it.
Hopefully we'll get on there one day.
Look,
if I get invited to your podcast,
Shanka Vedantam, shout out.
Can we both go?
Yeah, we'll both go. We're a package deal. Codetta and Charm City Bipper. All right. Okay, so it talked about how you have these primal beliefs that shape your experience through the world, and this primal belief that you have, it may be shaped, it may be due to your experiences, it may be due to your family, generational trauma, whatever. But one of the base beliefs was, do you see the world as a safe place or a dangerous place? And so I listening to this episode, I realized, I was kind of thinking about myself and I'm not from Baltimore, but I'm of Baltimore. So I was born in D.C. We moved out like all kinds of places. I've lived overseas. I went to school overseas. I've traveled overseas, all kinds of things. But my mother is from here. And so me and my siblings, most of us kind of ended up back here. And I love Baltimore. I love Baltimore as someone who, as a kid, spent summers here, as someone whose family is based here, and as someone who has seen a lot of other places. And I'm kind of seeing Baltimore almost from an outsider's perspective that allows me to love it in ways that people who've grown up here their whole lives don't, if that makes sense.
It makes all the sense. That's right, Baltimore. That right there.
But yes, so people, I've been, I spent a lot of time. My friend Brian's shop is over by Lexington Market. We worked on a mural recently, me and him and a few other artists. That's right across the street from there. And, being outside with these guys are like, they're older from me. They're from Baltimore, from like over east, over west, wherever. Yep. And they're just constantly like head on a swivel. And which is like, that's fair, right? That's completely fair. And the first night they were out there, someone literally got shot across the street. So it's not unfair for that to be a concern that's at the forefront of your consciousness.
Is a mentality.
Yeah.
And the thing is, here you have to be self-aware.
You have absolutely.
You don't have a choice in it. Because the lack of self-awareness or awareness of your surroundings is life or death. Yep. But it's wild because Baltimore breeds some of the strongest individuals. I joke with my friends, like, you make it past 20, you were lit, bro.
Right.
You make it past 25, you lit her. You make it to 30, like, you make it to these milestones, you're a lit individual here. So it's like, when I see people older than me who've had stories similar to mine, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful to know them. I'm so grateful to lean on their reference.
Yeah.
And I'm also very conscious of the power that being from my city gives me. Because when I go other places, I don't care where I'm at. I was by the Hudson River on the Jersey side with the pretty apartments, and I still was like, because I'm also having to be cognizant of how white people are looking at me. Because sometimes I'm perceived as a threat in some of their minds, whether I'm
wherever you
giving it off or not.
Yeah. And
it's like, even with a microphone in my hand, it's still some consideration or some negative connotation that can be put on it. But it's wilder because it's like, in my experience, people that look like me may find me to be a bigger threat in those spaces.
That part.
So it's
it's
double edged. And then as a black male, to be seen by other black males as a threat, and I've seen other black males as a threat. I'll give you this. I just had an experience at a gym, and this brother is dope as when he gets on this, power to him. But it was wild because I set up shop in there. I got my laptop out. They got like a space for me to just do my thing or whatever. So I'm getting busy, put the headphones on, minding my business. And we cut eye contact a couple times. And it didn't seem like what you doing?
Mm-hmm.
But that was also a perception I had a little bit. So I was like, wonder how this is gonna go.
Yeah.
And other people also were looking because this is one of them gyms. So it's like they looking. It's like, okay, cool, y'all looking, hi. And it's just like I said, I'm doing my thing. Eventually we just start to talk, and we break that wall. But breaking that wall is so damn important because it can go either way. It's like, I'm good, I don't want to talk to you.
Right.
Because that can be that has been my experience with some people. Like, well, like, what are you doing? How are you doing that? Like, I see people that don't look like me pull out a laptop at the gym all the time. I see people that don't look like me. Like, what? Why are you doing that? Right?
That? Yeah.
And the conversation was heavy. He is an entrepreneur. He is a trainer. He is a veteran in the Marine Corps. Like, he's one of them.
Yeah.
But if I was to go by the uniform he had on and the look on his face that I didn't really know nothing about, it wouldn't have been no opportunity to build. So when I'm constantly reminding others of, and myself, is release your judgment. Your judgment is not protecting you. Your judgment
can be limiting.
Is limiting you, and oftentimes is based on past conceptions of people who may have been problematic, but you're making everybody else a problem because of fear.
Or even that same person later.
Yep.
Never the same person from moment
and
to
then
moment.
It's funny because it's like there's people who were problematic in the past who have turned their life around and come back with an opportunity that people who have always been there haven't given me.
Yep.
So when I say give it away, give your desire to control this away, and find a way to flow in it intentionally, because I'm not saying free flow and be dazed and confused for like every hour of the day. I'm just saying, like, just have a little more intention and a little more purpose behind your action, and it'll be a better experience.
I think everything, we should live with intentionality, and whether you actively live with intention or not, everything that you do has an intention and a purpose and an outcome. And
your intention is what's in your heart,
right? But even if you don't live your life in a way that you're mindful of intention, there's an intention behind your action,
right? Because
you might not be aware of what it is, and you're surprised by the consequences, but that was always the intention of that action.
And this was funny because it's people who set out to serve, but setting out to serve looks like a lot of things. Because what are you serving?
Right.
So that's why that's why it's like intention is big, and like it's people who push back on religion, and I'm like, okay, but that's the foundation of service.
What are you doing?
Right. What are you doing? Right.
What's your foundation?
It's like I'm very cognizant of purpose and values. Because there's people who have religion who don't have purpose and values.
Well, talk about it.
So that's
there's people who have religion that don't know their religion. Like, you telling me you ain't never read the book, but you trying to tell me don't do this, don't do that. Okay, but where did you get that from? You got that from somebody else's interpretation. So basically, somebody somewhere else interpreted something, and then they're playing a game of telephone, and now you're saying stuff that doesn't exist in the book. How about you read the book? Us
is about them, and them is ego. There's ego, and then there's the higher. Ego is in your way of the higher. And ego make you think you the one. I ain't the one.
There's only one.
Yeah, look, I did a podcast with some brothers who are Muslim as well, and we did a break in the podcast so they could pray. And it was a beautiful moment for me because I love the discipline of it. I love the intention. I love the purpose behind it. So much discipline. Yeah. I'm like, yes. And it was black men. On top of it, young black men.
Love that.
Not only that. So seeing that was powerful for me. And in our conversation, as I think we started with like, everybody want to be him, but they not him. You out here saying you him, but you ain't connected to him, so you really ain't him. I don't know what him he think he is, but he ain't him.
That's crazy.
So it's that part. It's like, that's
crazy.
If I'm going to be him,
you gotta know him.
I gotta know him. And if I'm gonna even claim to be close to him, I'm gonna have to do some work. And it's not no, like, relationships. Everything in life is work. Everything in life is work, and work is time times energy. I'm in my head with my math.
That sounds right.
Work is it's just that part,
like
time
and degree.
Right, time and energy.
Effort.
Right, effort is a beautiful thing. I'm gonna end this one. And I know
We'll talk
we're gonna
again.
have some more moments.
For sure.
For sure. We gotta talk about this podcast after I watch it. Cause now I'm a fan. And I don't even
Hidden Brain.
You ever watch, do you check in with Joe Dispenza?
No.
I'm gonna put you up with Joe Dispenza. Andrew Huberman.
Okay.
He talks a lot of the what is it? It's that word dopamine that everybody our relationship with dopamine affects a lot of the ways that we interact with
it
things
really does.
level.
Really does.
And there is one more, and of course Earn Your Leisure. And I like
There's another one called the Happiness Lab. This is good.
Oh yeah, it's one with Teo. I think Teo 2.0 or something. It's a Christian podcast who talks about wealth and a lot of them.
I don't listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to Hidden Brain.
I'm a peruser, if that's the word. But I'll be on the YouTube.
That's your
YouTube
industry.
space,
That's
right?
your vibe.
So I am a guy from a place. Charm City Bipper, Quis The Vndl. Marquis is the name my mama gave me. One day made better is many days made greater. I'm uplifting you to be in a world that cares. If I keep it to myself, I think that's unfair. The joys that I've been given are best when shared. These visionaries never die. Legends survive through the seeds they sow daily. They get better with time. I'm with
Sumaya Bilal,
owner
a.k.a.
of
Maya, owner of Codetta Bake Shop. Yes, check us out. We're currently at 809 Light Street. Yes, we are in Light Street Presbyterian Church. We're open Fridays and Saturdays only, open to the public, which sounds crazy. It's only 8 hours a week, but we got a lot of other stuff going on throughout the rest of the week. So check our Instagram, Google for updates and hours. And yeah, we'll see you soon.
You know, it's not crazy because that's a new standard. That's a new standard, having outside, like right now I'm a yogi. And a lot of people's conception, why are you not teaching classes? Y'all don't even know what yoga is.
Right.
Let's start there. I'm also just starting, so there's part of my practice I haven't delved into yet that I'm interested in tapping into. I'm providing yoga to children. I never stop teaching. Right. I'm always working with youth. So with that being said, push back and understand that businesses can show up in many different facets.
Yes.
And a lot of the bag is when that shop is closed.
Oh, yes.
That's really what y'all missing. A lot of the growth is had in darkness.
Yep.
And
real quick, I'm gonna say one last little gem that I've come to know. When a small business changes their policies, the policies of a small business are the boundaries of that small business, and you need to respect their boundaries and trust that they know what is best for their business. And if they do things that are best for their business, that's going to be best for their clients, right? So if I'm saying we're only available 8 hours a week, it's because that's what's best for me and it's what's best for you. So come see us sometime in that 8 hours.
I swear, y'all don't even know what you getting right here. Like, I don't want nobody talking to me crazy from this point on. Y'all already was talking crazy, but it's a lot coming. There's a lot coming, y'all. Hi, y'all. Beautiful day and blessings. See you enjoying yourself.
Kids are like, what the? Who is this?
I'm sorry, I don't want any more of this. Boundaries. Yes. The policies of boundaries. We can go on for 3 hours with this thing.
I'll be back.
You will.
Back.
You will. I gotta pull up to the shop.
Yes.
And I'm going to do a video eating that cheesecake.
Oh my God.
Y'all gonna see it.
Yes.
And all the glory.
I brought you a cupcake too.
Blessings. Abundance.
Peace out, y'all.
Love.
See you next time.
Yeah. We were searching for the right way, did a lot of wrong. Can't go back, gotta move on. Gotta move forward, corrections given and accept the living still brings pain.